So with all of that, let's get right into the Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
I
let's
saw
do it.
that you had overall pretty positive thoughts. What would you describe your thoughts as?
I've like, as we always say, it's all about expectations. I went into this event thinking because last year they had like Callisto Protocol as like a big thing. They had the Last of Us section at the end with the Last of Us Part 1 getting announced and the release date. We heard Jeff say we have 3 or 4 big things. So I went in thinking it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be like a show where there are like some highlights and the rest of the show is gonna be meh. But then we started with like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, like a completely new Prince of Persia game, 2D, 2.5D actually. I think that looked surprisingly good. I want to play that. They had like gameplay reveals for like big upcoming games like Mortal Kombat 1. We had like a new Sonic reveal that looks kind of cool. Lies of P getting a demo, like you played it. I can't wait to hear about that. We had a ton of gameplay, a ton of release dates. Spider-Man showing up, did not expect that, with a release date. Some cool new game announcements like a Dragon, the John Carpenter Toxic Commando game. I thought it was a good mix of like fun stuff that you did not expect, updates on big games that we all are looking forward to, and then also some big hitters like the Final Fantasy VII Remake at the end. So all in all, I thought it was like fun to have like developers on to talk about that. I kind of missed that during all the digital events because they really feel that they gotta just go like this, like trailer, which is great. But I think it's fun to have like Brian Intar from Spider-Man give a bit more detail, like see how excited he is for the game. Have that with some other like big headliners as well. Overall, I would give it like a B plus for what this show could be. I think they kind of nailed it, and I look forward to seeing it grow from here. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's all about expectations. And what I said in our stream before everything started, I was like, honestly, I feel like for most other shows that Jeff does, he is out there hyping it up like mad. And this time around, I felt like he was much more reserved. He was much more sort of level-headed with it, which tamed my expectations. So I went into this thinking, okay, maybe we get, like maybe something from Ubisoft. We probably see Final Fantasy. We see some stuff from like Square Enix. I was not expecting anything like GTA 6 or anything, but I was like, okay, we probably see a couple of cool things. Another trailer for Immortals of Avium, that kind of stuff. And I think in general, it delivered largely. I thought there were a few cool, like really cool things and surprises I didn't see coming. The Prince of Persia thing I was not ready for. And then other things like having Nick Cage come out. Like, yeah, it's for a game that I'm probably not going to play. I might try it for like a few hours just to play as Nick Cage, unless it's like a $10 or $20 like charge to play as him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but little things like that were fun. And just, I don't know about you, but the energy was almost intoxicating. Like you could really tell. And I dog on Jeff because I think he has pretty terrible stage presence, and I think he would be better served getting somebody else to host his events. But you can tell he's passionate. You can tell this is what he loves dearly, and you just watch him on stage talking about these games. He gets giddy, and that makes me giddy. And so as much as I dog on the guy, I joked during the stream. I was like, okay, take a shot every time he looks at the floor while someone else is on stage. And the whole like time he's talking to like Nick Cage, it's always down to the floor, which honestly, I would just be like on my hands and knees in front of Nick Cage, to be fair. But we dog on Jeff because it's fun.
I still think like he's one. Yeah, he's still a gamer. He's still like of course, he has done this many times, but you really see, for example, with a Nick Cage, like he is like starstruck all the way. Like he's like Nick Cage, like how he like looked when he announced that he still could not really believe it.
Yeah,
which I think is like fun to see.
Well, and I maybe that's part of the grand plan for Jeff is that he is a gamer. He has some slight social awkwardness, which makes him endearing. For me, though, I went to E3 2019 and I was at the Coliseum, the E3 Coliseum, where they had different panels hosted by different people. And they had a panel hosted by Troy Baker. And then right after was a panel hosted by Jeff Keighley. And the difference in the ability to manage the crowd and juggle all this stuff was night and day. Because Troy Baker, extremely charismatic, phenomenal stage presence because he's trained as an actor. So that gave me a taste of like, oh, so that's what that would look like if they got somebody like Troy Baker to host
Fair.
the Game Awards or whatever. But let's be honest, Jeff has built this whole thing up, and his, in addition to making probably millions, his charge is to be on stage to introduce all this stuff. And if that's how it goes, that's how it goes. But I do think eventually he'll need to bring in hosts to let it grow bigger than just him. But anyway, that's beside the point. In general, I thought the show was pretty solid. I don't have anything like bad to say about it, other than I felt like at the very last minute he built up that Final Fantasy announcement in a way that made me instantly go, wait, the rumors were true? Are we getting like Bloodborne on PC or something? Like,
Yeah.
I thought he was building up to something huge, and then it ended up being just like an official announcement for something we already knew about.
Yeah. It was really the perfect example of him being in his bubble, where where you probably saw a lot of people speculating if Final Fantasy VII Remake, the Part 2 was gonna be there, and he was like, hey, I'm not gonna tell them. But for the majority of people, they were not in that bubble. They were like, what is he talking about? And then when he says that, I mean, I think he probably said it because it's cool to say. The rumors were true. That's just a cool line, right?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense for this because it's oversold Final Fantasy. If he said, and there's one more thing, I think you will like it, and then bomb Final Fantasy, and then you're like, whoa, I did not expect that. But even at the start of the show, at the start of the show, he was really like, I have like a big finale, and I don't know, man. Like Final Fantasy is huge, but it's for that audience.
Yeah,
it's huge,
and
if you hype it up.
Well, yeah,
Sorry?
and it's a known quantity. That's was my frustration. Kind of like with the Sony showcase, their big announcements were like, yeah, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, it looks great. We knew it was going to look great. We already knew about it. Like, that's just not the same as here is a bombshell of something you did not see coming at all. Like that, we went back and we watched on stream a couple days ago, we watched some of the best game announcements and game announcement trailers of all time. And you watch the video of like that original God of War 2018 reboot trailer. And the live audience, and you see Kratos emerge from the shadows, and you just hear somebody in the corner. Like, people just lose it. But that level of excitement and just no way, I haven't felt in a while, and that's what I'm starved for. So I'm hoping.
To be fair, I'm gonna give him credit for the fact that he did have a live audience. He could have easily just like made a direct style presentation. I think a lot of people involved would have been like, sure, that's way easier. Let's do that. Let's record it a few days in advance and just put it live. But having that audience there did help. Like it just gives that old school vibe. It's really with the direct style sort of. Where we are at now with COVID, of course, accelerating things, where everyone is now doing that Nintendo Direct style thing, finally having the audience again. And at the Game Awards, you mostly have like developers and like industry professionals, so they're not gonna like yell at every like little thing, but having fans in the audience is just something that's, it just makes things way better. And it was especially funny when it was like, oh, we have Alan Wake 2, woo, a new Fortnite season. And nobody was like clapping.
There was like one guy that was like, no!
An epic employee, like.
I agree. Well, one of the biggest surprises, perhaps, was not something that was there, but rather something that wasn't. And that is the expansion for Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, I saw some people in the chat talk about it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there were
weird
articles that like were posted to major websites that said, oh no, it's going to be at Summer Game Fest. So everybody saw that and was like, okay, so it's going to be at the show.
Apparently it was at Playdays. Well, that's where things got
apparently
confused.
Like wires got crossed. Exactly. There are people, so a lot of YouTubers, creators got flown out to LA, and You know, I'm having a baby, so couldn't quite swing it. But a lot
You
of
were invited?
creators, yeah, it's so. It was one of those we started talking a while. I don't know how much I can say, but yeah, basically, yeah,
Okay.
we have a baby. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know if I can go into it, but there's creators that are out there right now. I don't know if it's right now or if it's in a few days, but one of the reasons they were flown out there is to play Cyberpunk and
Yeah.
the expansion. So it seems as though wires were crossed where some journalists thought, okay, well, if it's going to be there to be played by journalists, it's going to be in the show, right? And apparently wires got crossed. So that got out. People thought we're going to see it. We didn't see it, which was
I think
surprising.
they even announced it officially on their Twitter account, CDPR, that they were at the Playdays. So it was like really officially out there that the DLC was going to be playable, because I think they are doing that because one of the big critiques for Cyberpunk, the original, was that nobody played it almost before release. So they're now like doing, of course, a different approach. But yeah, I thought as well, because I think the Playdays are right now, or like this weekend. And I thought, okay, then it makes sense to like unveil it at Jeff Keighley's thing. But now it's probably going to be at Xbox, of course. Yeah, they properly revealed the game with Keanu Reeves, of course, also at the Xbox. So yeah, maybe they're doing that.
Some people were saying that they don't think it's going to be at any of these. They think it's just going to skip all these events. I think they would
have said it already.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it. I think they've built a relationship with Xbox. There were rumors and some very fake, like obviously fake leaks of people saying that they have timed exclusivity with Xbox for like 6 months on console.
No way.
I don't personally think so, but I do think it's going to be probably shown off at the Xbox event.
What I can see is that they will put like Cyberpunk, the original game, like on Game Pass, and then the DLC, of course, not. So that might be like part of the deal.
Yeah,
which would help, I think, both people, because new players coming in, and then they might buy the DLC.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think that would be a slam dunk. I agree.
And it's coming probably sooner. Like, I do believe that rumor that it's coming sooner than we think. Like, I think it's gonna launch before Starfield.
Oh, really? Actually, I guess that makes sense. The rumor that's been floating around that I've seen is like August.
Yeah,
maybe
so
like early August.
Starfield.
So that makes sense. Yeah. Let's see. From chat, Super Soupy, leaks also just make it a lot more difficult to be shocked by anything. Metal Gear would probably have gotten a much bigger reaction if it wasn't leaked ahead. I mean, I agree. Leaks always can make things difficult. The bigger the industry gets, the bigger these companies get, the more difficult it is to keep things hush hush. The Prince of Persia thing. I want to touch on this real quick. I agree with you. I thought this was kind of surprising. I didn't see this coming. I thought it actually looks pretty, like, honestly, pretty decent. For those of you not familiar, this is what it looks like on screen. You can see it. It's like a 2.5D reboot, is my understanding. They're just kind of trying to give it a new identity. Its own little, like, sort of Fortnite meets Borderlands art
Immortals.
style. Immortals is a little bit there. Yeah, it's interesting. It's got its own unique flavor, and honestly, everything that we've seen that they showed here looks pretty decent. Boss fights, platforming. I thought it looked pretty good.
It brings me back to like the kind of old Ubisoft that wanted to try stuff like this, right? Like the what was it called? Like the Valiant Hearts, and the other one with the red-haired lady. A turn-based game. Maybe Chet knows. But
yeah,
like,
they're gonna know.
Yeah, the Ubi art games. So like, stuff like that is like we haven't seen, because Ubisoft at one point was like, if we can't like support it post-launch, we are not going to do it. But they luckily stepped away from that. But yeah, the big story here actually is, because I think we both agree it looks great. I did not expect this. Seeing Prince of Persia, I think when they started this project, they probably did not think that they would launch before the remake. Here we are, though. The Sense of Time remake is still far away. They're really like still putting together the team as we speak in Ubisoft Montreal right now. So yeah, that's still a few years away. But like the dislikes on it, 16,000 dislikes versus 4,500 likes. That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Child of Light. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it's really, really easy. It just auto plays to The Witcher. 1 hour of emotional and relaxing music. YouTube knows me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, I understand it's sort of trendy to just bash Ubisoft because frankly, it's very easy. But part of all of this is bashing them when they do something bad and then praising them when they do something good. And I honestly, I'm not sure what people are hating on here.
In the comments, people are saying that it's basically like for a lot of people who are out of tune with gaming, they're like, I liked Prince of Persia back in the day. I want another game like that. Why are you making this? Because this is like more in the indie realm for people. Like it's not the AAA sort of realm that Prince of Persia back in the day was known for. And here, you must respect Ubisoft's consistency, killing every franchise they get their hands on. Like
Yeah.
comments like that.
Or like this
Ubisoft CEO, we should reveal our new Assassin's Creed game. Ubisoft, or like the music. A lot of people are like not a fan of the rap music as well.
Yeah.
That's being used.
Yeah, every time Ubisoft announce a Prince of Persia, I consider finding a new hobby more and more. Like,
It's dark, man.
this one, Ferdman, maybe? I don't know. Looks more like Prince of Bel-Air than Prince of Persia. It seems like in general, people didn't like how they chose to reveal it. They didn't like the music choice. Yeah. They felt like it was trying too hard to be cool and hip. And
fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I get that, but from looking at it, I think what they actually showed, the gameplay looks decent. The character designs, maybe you don't like that, but frankly,
it's not like the soundtrack for the game. It's not like if we like play this game, we will hear this exact track. Like we know, right? So sure, they should criticize Ubisoft or like the trailer, but I think we should be happy that Ubisoft is doing games like this and that Prince of Persia gets another rep because no pun intended. But that's they're doing stuff with the series, right? While it was dormant for a really long time.
Yeah, they're trying. And I mean, at this point, I feel like they're between a rock and a hard place. They could just do a total reboot of Prince of Persia. But as I think we both know, the difficulty with that is it's going to be pretty hard to distinguish and differentiate between Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed, especially if they're trying to go and offer a lot of like stealth options with Assassin's Creed. They start to blend together.
I mean, you can now have a Prince of Persia outfit in Mirage, so you can already. But I look at this being like Ubisoft has Prince of Persia. They're probably like, we cannot invest the amount of money that people want that we invest in like a AAA game because we don't think it will sell as much as we need.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this instead. It's this or nothing, and then I prefer this. But like a lot of people watching the YouTube video are like, "What the heck is this?" Right? So I don't know. But maybe those people were never going to play it anyways. So we will see.
My general feeling is a lot of the people that tend to jump onto these hate bandwagons we're never actually going to really play it. You know, they just
and January it's coming.
Yeah,
pretty soon
it'll be a good time. And if it's a little smaller and quicker in scope, then I'm down. One of the biggest surprises for me at the show was the Lies of P reveal and demo. I have been playing it. I have been having a jolly old time. This demo, I don't want to like spoil too much. I'll show some gameplay on screen now that is early in the demo. This is from GameSpot. But this demo is like way bigger than I was expecting it to be. Like you could easily, depending on how good you are at these games, it could take you an hour and a half to get through. It could take you 5 hours to get through. There is a good amount here. There's a handful of boss fights, all of different styles and move sets, different weaknesses to elemental damage. You can, like in this demo, you can even go so far as to like start upgrading your gear, your loadout for your character. You can level up a handful of times. It's just like a big old chunk of the game that they just gave you. It's pretty baller. In terms of generalized
first two chapters.
Yeah, like
first two chapters. Yeah.
There's a lot. And And in terms of general play, I feel like the game performs ridiculously well. I was running this natively at 4K, and it was locked at 144 FPS, and no DLSS or anything on the highest settings. On my Steam Deck, I tried it last night. On low settings, you can get this thing running with AMD FSR2 or FSR1, whichever it is on the Steam Deck. You can get it running at a solid 60 frames. That's wild.
That's good.
Like, that's wild. It's just refreshing to get a game that's not even out yet that runs really, really well. It's really, really impressive to me. And there's just a lot here. Now, controls takes a little bit of finesse. You do kind of have to settle into it a little bit. There's a slight delay between when you hit like the start to roll and when it happens. So it takes a little bit to get used to the timings of everything. But all told, it's a very impressive demo. And after the first little boss fight, I set down the controller. I was like, okay, that was awesome. I was filming a video, which will go up on the main channel here in a little bit. And I set down the controller and I was like, honestly, I'm very impressed. I started doing the outro and then it just transitions to the next area. And I was like, oh my God, I was not ready for it. So there's a lot here. If you've been iffy on this, if you're curious, you absolutely should go try it and give it a shot. I think it's quite impressive. I really do. So,
and it's Game Pass also day one.
Yeah,
in September. So
that was a huge get. That was a huge get.
September 19th, I think, right? The release date.
Yes, I believe so. I don't see the exact date listed here. But yeah, it was originally going to be August. And then at this showcase, they announced that it's going to September. Which
fine.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good enough.
Will you then be done by Starfield? There are like 1,000 planets in that game. Will you then be done?
There sure are. He took my thing.